your predecessor, well, your other predecessor, because your predecessor is Matthew Opoku Prempeh, but the other predecessor, Naana Opoku Agyemang, has been speaking. We have isolated 6 things that she said that we would like to hear from you, unless you have a preliminary comment. So her first commentary that we isolated was she was talking about allowing parents to pay. And she thinks that the policy has a deficit, which is that parents who can pay should be allowed to pay. So we'll hear your response on that. And then she also talked about the reforms that they were going to achieve. She also made some interesting comments about the WASSE, the passing of the WASSE, the excessive passing of the WASSE by the candidates. She actually did allege that something went wrong, and that's the reason why that happened. And then she talked about a meeting that you invited her, which we had commended you for, that you invited all past ministers of education. We haven't seen that happen yet, and you did it. And she explained that she couldn't come because the notice was late. Which one would you like to start with, unless you have a preliminary comment?
No, the WAEC comment.
The WAEC? The
WAEC comment.
Let's play the WAEC video first. It's not that long. It's only 1 minute, 40 seconds. Let's see the WAEC video, and then the minister can respond.
Prime objective is to ensure that the children get better education, pass well, and continue. Government's narrative is that the first batch have written their WASSE and they did well, which is an indication that free SHS, after all, is not as bad as critics would want to put it. And that should defeat some of the concerns we are raising.
Listen, I think we're all in this country. We hear about lack of textbooks. The food and the sleeping places, we've also heard plenty about that. But the psychological makeup of the learner is very important. So let's just go to the purely quote-unquote academic ones. We've heard of lack of textbooks. We've heard of teachers who are teaching Form 3, and by the time they finish, they are too tired to go to Form 1. We've heard of that. We haven't asked about the state of the science labs. We haven't asked how many experiments the chemistry student needs to have and how many has happened. We haven't heard of the equipment that has gone to the labs or to the workshops. We haven't heard of the reagents. We haven't heard of the lab assistants, and so on and so forth. And all of these go into the academic performance. We also know what we have heard is about students being given past questions to learn. We have also heard and we have seen students who wrote an exam, came out, and it was like, we've had an earthquake in this country. It wasn't like one school or 2 schools.
You are referring to students who were protesting that
this same group whose performance is supposed to be so outstanding that we shouldn't be talking. It is the group I'm referring to. Okay? And they went and wrote the exam. We heard of the leakage of exams. We heard of invigilators being compromised. We've heard many, many things. And we also saw the students come out and speak about, no, this is not what we were told would happen. Now these students have A's and we are happy.
Yes, Minister. What do you make of that?
My brother, politicians are our worst enemies. When you see students being asked to go to school and write the exam in the midst of COVID-19, the most courageous group of people at the time in this country were those students and their parents who allowed them to go, because the president wanted to make sure that their future was not jeopardized, even in the midst of COVID-19. Then you hear a politician saying, we heard. You heard. Under you, as the Minister for Education, did you hear of leakages? Of course. She heard of leakages. Exams were cancelled under her watch. She heard. And then to even talk about lack of textbooks. If there were textbooks in the schools at the time we took over, we wouldn't have procured textbooks for 4 core textbooks for every student. We wouldn't have done procurement because the curriculum had not changed. There were no books in our secondary schools when we took over at the Ministry of Education. 4 core textbooks were procured for each student. If there were books, madam, why did we have to procure new textbooks when the curricula had not changed? Under her. And I want everybody listening to me to understand that this is not anything personal against her. I respect her. I'm going to speak to the facts, and the facts is what I'll speak to. She said, we heard, you are deflating the confidence of Ghanaians. When these young men and women went to take the exams and did so well, and be Nigeria in terms of the top performing students category, we sit here and want to score some political points by saying we are better than the MPP in the handling of education. And even when the student did well, we are saying it's because of cheating. My brother, let me look at 2015. Under the watch of Naana Opoku Agyemang, Honorable. In mathematics, for example, 23.9% of the students obtain A1 to C6. That is what you need to be able to go to the university.
So that's a pass.
23.9, A1 to C6, university entrance. And then another Akufo-Addo, in the midst of COVID-19, these students courageously sit for the exams and obtain a score of 66.5%, almost 300%. And madam, the least you can do would be to commend the hard-working teachers and headmasters of this nation who supported these students and through thick or thin in the midst of COVID-19 did the impossible. And I think that's why I say politicians are our worst enemies.
But
at minimum,
it's interesting.
Minimum,
your 66% is also per head count, more numbers.
Yes,
most likely.
Of course.
Yeah, because of the free SHS.
And of course, these are students who got aggregate 36 and 40.
Yes, all of them who came in to get the opportunity.
No cutoff point.
So more numbers, physical numbers, and a greater percentage as against the old fewer numbers and a lower percentage. Yes. That makes it significant.
And they did so well. And instead of commending them, we just look at these young men and women, courageous individuals, and tell them that you cheated. WASSE has an algorithm that they use to detect students who have cheated, and they catch them every year.
Oh, even when they are marking?
Oh, yes. They're able to catch them. They put it into a system that tells them that some people cheated here, and they do it every year. Let me tell you. What this honorable minister probably has taken for granted is that when you speak in Ghana, you're speaking to the entire globe. Because of what he said, some students may not get scholarship to certain universities around the world because they're going to look at them and say, you cheated in your home country and you don't deserve to get a scholarship from us. Some students are not going to get admission to important and great institutions around the world because of what the minister have said. And this is something that we need to be mindful of. This is not yesteryear's world. This is today's world, social media world. What this honorable minister have said will travel around the globe, and God forbid, some students are going to lose opportunity because of what she said. And I think we don't have to, we don't have to, for whatever reason, say things that we can't substantiate, especially when you have that position. When you speak, the world listens. And I plead with the honorable minister that he should measure his words carefully when you're talking about WASSE and WAEC, an international organization, and telling Nigerians that yes, Ghanaians did better than you, but as a former minister, I heard they cheated. And then he talked about there was an earthquake. Students who demonstrated, right? The students demonstrated because they thought that they had the questions. Right? Somebody tricked them. There's what we call rogue websites where people cheat students by saying, hey, we have the questions, and some students will go there and pay money, only to realize that it's a fake website. So this happened to some students. It happened even to Opoku in the Ashanti region, where the students went on rampage because what somebody came to tell them was not true. So students who were disappointed that the leave questions somehow was not accurate, how then do we say they did well because they cheated if they got the leave question, would they have gone out to demonstrate? In fact, there's a student who even insulted the first gentleman of the land.
Yes, I remember that.
Saying that they were disappointed that they didn't see the questions that they were expecting. Why would we make this kind of comments about students cheated? Madam Honorable former Minister for Education, I think we can all together look at what is right, say it at the right time, what is wrong, say it, and I won't begrudge you when you criticize my ministry. I won't. But I also not sit here for you to denigrate the hard work of the teachers of Ghana. High school teachers who sacrifice so much for this nation, headmasters who sacrifice so much for this nation should not be disrespected in such a manner. Madam Honorable Minister, I'm saying it based on facts. I respect you, and please, it would be very nice for us to really exercise a kind of judgment that will not destroy the hard-won reputation of the West African Examination Council. I will say this. I have seen courage in action. President who is so courageous in the face of challenges. When the former Minister for Education and my good self met the president to brief him on double track. Double track. Any African president would have said, not under my watch. Go and put up some shelters and put the students in. Double track. What is double track? But the president said something profound. He said, if this policy that you're going to implement is the reason why a student in a village somewhere in the country will get the opportunity for secondary education, go ahead and do it. I'll support you. He said that young man or woman at that village where nobody can even find on the map may be the one with a solution to the problems of this nation. Don't leave that child behind. And he said, I'll support you. Go and implement it. He forcefully defended it. And he, of course, I will say I respect him, but I respected him more from that day. Courage in the face of challenges. This president was doing something unique. And now the rest of the world is studying Ghana. The Brookings Institution did a study on Ghana and said Ghana, the first country to have experimented with a situation that have turned out to be a blessing to its people by implementing double track, which they said is a leapfrogging strategy. A 50% growth in enrollment in secondary education in any country is a major leapfrogging strategy. Now there are countries in Africa that is looking at Ghana and saying, oh, we need to do same because our building are there during the summer is dormant. Why don't we find a way to do what Ghana has done? The president has set a pace for Africa. Posterity will be kind to Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo.